Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christian. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day, good night. Wherever you are, whenever you're seeing this, I hope you are good. So guys, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate everybody that commented on my last video, the first tarot reading that I did in a year. I hope you guys enjoyed. We're going to be getting into another tarot reading today for the full moon total lunar eclipse that we're going to have on September 7th. This is going to be a full moon total lunar eclipse in Pisces. Okay, so we know eclipses are all about major transformations and essentially opening portals for us to go from one place to a complete 180 change. So if you want change, if you want a new beginning, if you want a fresh start, right now is going to be the time to step into it and capitalize on those energies. Of course, I'm going to be doing private full moon readings up until the full moon lunar eclipse and then afterwards. So check down below in the description box to get into one of those. But yes, guys, this full moon total lunar eclipse in Pisces is going to be a moment of emotional release, a moment of a lot of things coming to light, a chance of really tapping into your intuition in a different way. If you've lost touch of your intuition and of your discernment, of your clarity, if you've been feeling confused and like you've been in a fog, that should be lifting soon. And if it isn't lifting soon, then there's definitely some things emotionally that are kind of stopping you from getting to that point. Also, with this Pisces energy and the eclipse, it's kind of bringing up some things that maybe happened during February and March Pisces season earlier this year. So if you experienced certain moments in Pisces season, or if that was the start of certain things happening and ramping up for you, it could be a good time to revisit those things. If there are things that are blocking your intuition or your vision, you're going to be able to see those things and deal with them. And it's typically things that are affecting us negatively, emotionally. So this is going to be a time to figure out what's affecting you in a negative way, what's affecting you emotionally, and just getting raw with yourself about what you've been experiencing and what's really been affecting you. If we've been trying to play it cool, like we're not as bad off as we really are, like we're not as affected as we really are, now is going to be the time when we won't have that option. This will be a time when we'll really have to buckle down and get serious about what we want, where we want to go, and how we feel and how things have been affecting us. So let's go ahead and get into this reading, guys. I'm super excited to, get back into the swing of things. I've also ordered my new tarot deck. Okay, get into it. I told you guys last time that I wanted to get a tarot deck that was basically the only deck that I used moving forward. Just wanting to, and I don't know if this is going to be the deck, but I'm wanting to try out some different decks right now. So that's going to be the first deck that I try. It's going to be a deck that's very popular. You guys have seen me post about this deck, and I'm sure you've seen other people use this deck because it's a very beautiful, popular deck. But I'm definitely going to be excited to bring it out for you guys next time. And I'm actually going to do a video about how to connect with a new deck of cards and, how I kind of go about connecting and getting acquainted with the new deck of cards. So I'm excited for that content. That's going to be coming very soon. But guys, stay tuned if you're interested in more card reading. Let's go ahead and get into this tarot card spread with my everyday enchantment tarot that I am still rocking with. And we're going to see what we can expect with this full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. So yeah, we're not going to do any reversals again today, but you guys know we don't need reversals to get into it. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the tea. Stay up to date with everything. Check down below in the description box to get into it. Are we starting with Justice again? Are you kidding me? If you guys were here last time, this was the first card that we pulled last time. So I'm really surprised that we have Justice coming out again. So let's actually get like 5 or 6 cards pulled before we get into it. We have Justice. We have the Empress. Beautiful. We have the Empress. We have the Hermit. We have the Hermit again. We have the Hermit last time in our last spread. Jesus, all major arcana cards as well. You guys know eclipses always bring heavy energy, strong energy, things that we can't run away from, right? We have the 7 of Pentacles, the 7 of Pentacles, and let's get 2 more cards since we have all of this strong energy with this major arcana. Let's just keep it going. We have the Moon again. We have the Moon again, okay? That's why I'm pulling these extra cards, honey, because we're getting the same message a lot from last time. We have 3 cards already that we pulled in our last spread. So let's get one more. Maybe it'll be something different. Maybe it won't be. Maybe it won't be. The good thing about these messages is that, and we have the Fool. The good thing about these messages is that it's never really about what I want it to be. So it's never really a right or wrong type of thing. So if we get exactly the same spread every time, then baby, we get exactly the same spread. If you've really been here, then you know we've been getting the rooster out of the tea leaf oracle for every card reading for like 7 months at this point. So we got a lot of repeat cards, but let's get into the tea. Nevertheless, guys, so we have Justice here. We have the Empress. We have the Hermit. We have the Seven of Pentacles. We have the Moon. And then we also have the Fool, okay? So we have a lot of major arcana cards, a lot of very strong energies here. So starting off with Justice, you know, we are in a space of maintaining the peace. You know, I definitely feel with this full moon, it's going to be giving us an opportunity and kind of challenging us to take a stand. You know, I feel like we'll have to really face some things that have been affecting us, things that have been making us afraid to trust ourselves, afraid to love, afraid to take risks, you know. So there's a lot of things that we're going to be having to realize. We may even be battling, you know, internally with different parts of our ego or different parts of our shadow to fully just kind of relax and seek peace in this moment. Because we have the Empress as well. You know, the Empress is a very, very divine, nurturing, mothering energy. This is also about manifestation, you know, being in a space where you're able to create. Also, I pulled this in a card for someone recently, in a spread for someone recently, and the message was about accepting all parts of yourself. Because as the Empress, you know, you don't get to be the Empress just because you woke up one day as the Empress. The Empress is there because of blood, sweat, and tears. You know, you learn through your pain. You allow your pain to become your power. You allow your harsh lessons and getting your heart broken and the hard parts that become from manifesting and creating something from nothing. You let all of that turn into your beauty. You let that turn into your superpower. So with this Empress energy, I feel like, and with Justice, I feel like we could definitely be just trying to harness different parts of ourselves and turn it into our power in this season. So if there are certain parts of you that have come out of certain pain, certain insecurities, certain fears that you've been experiencing, this could be a moment to kind of transmute those energies and step into a space where these are no longer your flaws. These can become your strengths. And it's about changing your relationship to those flaws, you know, changing how you feel about those things. Forgiveness, we may have to forgive certain things from the past or forgive ourselves from certain things. But there's definitely an opportunity here to just seek peace and seek collaboration and seek community in a new way within ourselves and also within the spaces around us. You know, that issue that we have within ourselves is definitely creating issues around us, and that came up in the last reading too. Let's keep going with this tea. We have the Hermit. I can't remember if we pulled the Hermit first or the Seven of Pentacles, but we have the Hermit again. This is all about taking some time to ourselves. Of course, we know in a full moon stuff is coming to light, so the full moon, I feel it's natural for us to want to just kind of go within. With the new moon, it's the energy of manifestation and creating, so we may be feeling a little more, you know, a little more frisky, a little more flirty, a little more engaged. We may feel, you know, just a little more pep in our step. But a full moon, a very emotional time, you know, especially we have a full moon outside and we have the moon again. So the moon is going to really be playing on our emotions. It's going to be showing us a lot, maybe even dragging us through certain things that we haven't wanted to realize. If you've been wanting to ignore how something's affected you, this moon could definitely be bringing that stuff to the surface so you can deal with it once and for all. And you know, stuff loves to be dealt with once and for all, honey. I mean, if you need to cry it out or curse it out or just rage room it out or whatever you need to do to get it off your chest, releasing it, writing it, whatever, I feel like this is going to definitely be a time to do that. Really, really purge. I feel like we'll also have a chance to finally get what we've always wanted, to finally manifest what we've always wanted, whether that's love, career, personal goals, wellness goals, fitness goals, different things that you want to learn, maybe educational goals that we have. I feel like you'll really have a chance to do that. And we'll kind of have to choose to hold on to old habits or step into that new season. I mean, that's kind of the name of the game anyway when we step into spaces of change. But I feel like these things are going to be very emotional in nature. It's not going to be an easy switch. Sometimes it's like, oh, good, I've been waiting to cut that friend off. This isn't going to be one of those situations. I feel like we'll have to really be challenged to, you know, kind of face and deal with what we're kind of letting go. We also have the Seven of Pentacles, okay? This is all about making specific strategic investments in your future and being mindful with, you know, what you want. So not just making the goal for the goal. You know, I think that we want to just be very, very serious and strategic and specific about the new season we're stepping into. Because maybe before we allowed ourselves to be in things and didn't think it all the way through, or we just accepted things knowing it wasn't the best for us, but we were just like, it is what it is, you know. This is about being very strict. It's getting strict over here, okay? This is about being very strict about what you allow in your life, what you believe in, what you trust, what you have faith in, what you want. You know, it's just about being real specific about those things, and maybe even being extra, you know. And I'm saying that because people can always feel like when they ask too many questions or they're being too nitpicky, like sometimes I like to call it getting granular, getting into those granular details, you know, because it can feel like you're doing too much if you feel like you're being picky, or you feel like you're like, yeah, is this really what I need to do? Is this really what I should accept? But that's quite literally what we need to be doing right now. Feeling like we were doing too much is why we were in spaces where we were fighting to keep the peace. Okay? It's important to, you know, tell yourself, I'm not doing too much. This is what it takes to maintain me. This is what it takes to maintain me, even if that means repeating yourself over and over and over again until somebody gets it, or until you get it. Even if it means standing on business and pushing against that resistance over and over and over again. But sometimes that's what we have to do. But it's always going to end us up right where we're supposed to be. We also have the moon again, fighting confusion when the answers are right there. So if we don't want to accept the answers, it's just because maybe it's too painful for us, or it's a hard truth. But these things are literally coming to the surface so you can finally face it. Like, there's no benefit in a truth being hidden from you. The point of a truth is for it to come out. It's the truth. It's a fact. It's what's really happening. It's your reality. There's no benefit from being detached from your reality. Literally zero fucking benefit from that. So there has to be something within us that says not knowing isn't good enough for me, or knowingly turning my head away from something that I know I'm supposed to know isn't good enough for me anymore. Ignorance can't be bliss once you get to a certain point. When you know better, you have to do better, you know, and I feel like that's really what God is telling us right now. You know better than this. You know better than to act like just because it's not in your face, it's not a problem. You know better. And I hate that message because it's really a gag for me. I've been dealing with a lot lately too, and I have not been wanting to deal with it. I have not been wanting to have the conversations. I have not been wanting to do the hard things and have the uncomfortable conversations and be let down or be disappointed, or even set myself up to possibly be let down or disappointed. I think just because so much has been going on, any chance I can get for a break, I'm just like, oh geez, I need this fucking break. But it's not really a break if you're running. You know, if you're running from something, or if you're trying to avoid something, it's not a break because you're not at peace in that moment. You know, in your heart of hearts, you know that you're only there for a distraction, or because you won't need to deal with A, B, C, and D. And, you know, I think it's a blessing and a curse to get to that point where we can't, where ignorance is no longer bliss for us. The reason I say it's a blessing and a curse, because I mean, hello, I think the goal is to get back into this full space where we feel good about taking a risk and we don't take stuff too seriously. Like, I understand that life's challenges and conflicts can make you take life too seriously. It can make you feel like, okay, girl, I gotta stop just manifesting just for the hell of it. I gotta stop just, you know, kicking it with people and going here and going there. I need to get strict with myself. Like, we want to get strict in a way that still allows us to thrive. I feel like we've gotten strict in a way that has stopped us from taking risks or dreaming or wanting to experience pain. Like, we have to get to the point where that pain of failure or of things not working out isn't enough for us to stop entirely. Like, for some reason, that has been enough for us to never want to try again. We have to deal with that. We have to face that once and for all, because we don't want that to keep showing up and holding us back, because that's exactly what it will do. It will literally just continue to hold you back. We also have the Four of Pentacles. How can we feel secure? You know, how can we feel like we're in a space of security? You know, maybe we should all take some time to really think about ourselves, how far we've come, what we've done, what we've been able to achieve, because for whatever reason, it's never enough. And I had a moment this weekend where I called it one of my biggest career successes that I ever had, making a really, really incredible impact, doing something that I love to do. If you follow me on Instagram, then you already have kind of peeped what I've been getting into. But I, was talking about the success that I had after I experienced it. Right after I experienced it, I was on the phone just talking about everything. And, it kind of felt like I was just kind of talking about the news. It didn't really feel like I was talking about something that I had done, like something that I had put my efforts in and my energy into, and, traveling for this opportunity and, putting myself on a limb for this opportunity. I think sometimes when we're just on go, especially when we feel like we're in survival mode. Like when you feel like you have to make something happen, otherwise you're not going to be okay. When you make it happen, it doesn't really feel that good because you're like, well, I had to do this. So this is all I had to make this happen. Like there was no option for me to not make it happen. But that's not the truth. You could have failed. You could have flopped. You could have not got it. You could have not made it happen. Like just because we feel like we have no choice but to make it happen, when it does happen, we should still celebrate ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense to you guys? If you're very hard on yourself, then you're the type of person that understands what I'm talking about. You know, when you feel like, well, I got to do this, so it is what it is. Like, that doesn't mean that it's not a big deal because you've made yourself feel like you had to do it, you know? I think we need to get back connected to our talents, back connected to the things that only we can do. You know, the stuff that you do is a big deal. Like it's a big deal. It's not just like, oh yeah, I did this, but whatever. Like, no, it's a big deal. It's something to be excited about. It's something to feel like, dang, like I'm straight because look at what I've done. Like I'm good. I'm solid. I'm secure. I can trust myself. I can feel this full energy and take my step off of this ledge knowing that I'm going to be okay because look at what I've done. We should feel that way. And if we can't, we have to figure out what is stopping us from feeling that way. Let's just figure out what's stopping us from feeling that way. What is stopping us from feeling that way? Let's see what's kind of stopping us from feeling that way. I kind of want some more insight into that. Like, what's the tea? We have the 3 of Pentacles. All right. We have the 3 of Pentacles and we have the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups. So the 3 of Pentacles. Do you feel like, okay, this is what I get from the 3 of Pentacles. We don't ever really think it's us that's making the thing happen. We think that we're just playing our part, but we feel like everything else is also making the thing happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that even in a group project, if you do all the work, you still will feel like, well, it was a group project after all, you know, like we just need to give ourselves more credit because you're not getting connected with these opportunities and with these things just because, like, you're being handpicked for certain things. So I think we need to kind of take a step back and really recognize that we're being specifically chosen for certain things. Like, you aren't just given opportunities to do great just to flop. I mean, you're given these opportunities because you're the perfect person for these opportunities. So we need to acknowledge that and recognize that and feel good about that. And let that be something that we hold ourselves to, you know, let that be something that we can use to validate ourselves. You know, like, what are you using to validate yourself? If you don't validate yourself when you do it on your own, you don't validate yourself when you do it as a team. So when are you validating yourself? When are you making yourself feel good for what you're doing? Like, when are you making yourself feel like, wow, I'm doing this. Like, when are you bigging yourself up for what you're doing? I feel like we always do it and we just feel like, well, this is what I do. You know, this is what I do. We need to just recognize that it's not just what you do. Like, it's more than you just being a part of a great team or you just always making it happen at the last minute. Like, there's so much more into that. You learned a lot about how to deal with ups and downs, about how to be a solutions-oriented person, about how to deal with conflict, how to deal with challenges, about how to keep going when stuff gets hard. There's so many lessons and skills that you've gained along the way. So we really just need to give ourselves more credit. And I feel like this is a chance to see ourselves in a different light and let go of things that have been stopping us from seeing ourselves how we need to. We also have the Queen of Cups. So this is a very emotional, open energy. So I feel like maybe, I don't know why. I mean, why would that be stopping us from kind of recognizing what we're doing though? Are we too humble? Is that the problem? Are we too humble, guys? We have the Magician. We may be a little too humble. We have the Magician. We may be a little too humble. And I feel like that's been coming up, you know, where we feel like, well, you know, this is just what I do. You know, like, I feel like we also have a part of us that, you know, has been, I feel like our goals have changed. Not the goals, but the reason we want the goals have changed. Like, maybe once upon a time we wanted this for this. And I feel like we have more humble reasons for going after things. Like, our influences and what pushes us are coming from a more humble foundation. So I think that certain things that used to feel us maybe don't feel us the same, you know, like, but it's about finding different ways that you can be fulfilled. Like, if you don't feel happy when you get certain attention or when you get certain praise anymore. Maybe you can find a different way of others pouring into you and of you pouring into yourself that'll make you feel good, because sometimes we come to a point where we're like, so many pats on the back don't even hit the same anymore, or where you just don't even feel like it's a big deal, you getting to certain points, or you healing certain things, or you figuring certain things out. So I think we need to just recognize how far we've come to get to this point where it doesn't even feel like a big deal what we're doing. Like, imagine what we're doing, and imagine telling yourself 5 years ago that you would be right here doing these things. Like, it may not feel like much now, but there really is a lot that we're doing. It's a lot that we're showing up for, a lot that we're showing up for within ourselves, a lot that we're teaching ourselves along the way, a lot that we're dealing with where nobody even sees. Like, how many times have you cried since the last Pisces season and nobody knew? How many times have you picked yourself up since February? How many times have you started over since February, or you felt like you were alone? You did things where maybe everybody was telling you shouldn't do it and you did it anyway, and you're still the only person supporting your decision. We just need to take a step back. And that's why I say sometimes you got to get picky. Sometimes it's not a bad thing to be picky or be granular. As I've been saying, sometimes it's not a bad thing to just really start to pick apart everything you've done, everything they've done, everything you've experienced, everything you've had to heal, because it's not a small feat what you're doing. And you don't want to feel like it's not a big deal. You don't want to feel like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do this. This is what I'm supposed to do. It is what it is. No, you want to feel like you're doing something that, maybe once upon a time you wouldn't have been able to do. Like, you want to feel proud of yourself. Like, we need to find that balance of stepping into more pride. We don't want to be too damn humble now. We don't want to be too noble. A really, really good example that I have for this, and I always bring this up, is like the Game of Thrones girl, because you have to be cutthroat if you want to get into the Iron Throne. And I don't mean for us to be cutthroat, how cutthroat they is in the Game of Thrones, because they did have the walk of shame, okay, for people that were too cutthroat. If you know, you know. But I do think that we have to stop letting people play with us. We have to stop playing with ourselves. We have to stop feeling like, oh, I'm not really doing that much, or oh, I'm still not ready for this yet, or oh, I only was able to do this because of it. We need to stop downplaying ourselves. We need to stop letting people downplay us. We need to stop letting the world make us feel like we ain't doing nothing. Like, we need to stop letting these outside circumstances make us feel like we aren't the magician. Like, we aren't still that person that's making something from nothing every single day. You're still that person. You're still that person. And we need to remind ourselves of that. We have the Ace of Wands. We have the Ace of Wands. I love this deck. I'm so happy to be reading the tarot cards again. We have the Ace of Wands. We have the Page of Wands as well. We're getting into some wands, guys. We've had lots of Pentacle and Major Arcana this whole spread. We had one cup, but we've had lots of Pentacle and Major Arcana. So we've just been very strict, okay? The messages has been very, very practical. Let's see what creative. And we have Death. We have Death. Let's get into it. I also love the Death card in this deck. So we have the Page of Wands, the Ace of Wands, and Death. So as we're continuing to step, through this journey, we have the chance to create new things. With the Ace and the Page of Wands, I love that these are, these are kind of like the beginning stages of a new start. That inner dialogue of, can I do this? Is this something that I want to do? Like, working from beginning to end to fulfill your dream, having a blank slate, having this new beginning, starting fresh, starting over again. We also have this death. So we really have the chance to start over, guys. Also, some of us could have we've definitely experienced death. We may have experienced an actual death. Someone actually could have passed away. Or we could have been, having parts of ourselves pass away. But either way, I feel like maybe we haven't fully allowed ourselves to grieve something. Maybe we don't feel like we have time for it, or maybe we just feel like it's not that big of a deal, so we shouldn't grieve it, or we've never grieved anything like this before, so we have to grieve it how we've never grieved in the past. Like, it could just be a new season of grief for us entirely. But I feel like we have to grieve something that maybe we haven't. Because all of this newness is kind of coming as a fresh start after this death moment. All of this new stuff that we're stepping into, this new idea, this new perspective that we're supposed to have, this new feeling that we're supposed to have about ourselves and where we're going, is supposed to be coming because of this death that we're experiencing, this ending of this chapter of this season. So I really feel like we have to commit to that. And Oh my God. Committing to the death of something also means committing to the healing of whatever it did to you while it was in your life. Doesn't that suck? It sucks for me, girl, because that means I have more work to do. Okay, we all have more work to do. It doesn't suck. Let me not say that. Thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to heal. Let me not say that. It doesn't suck. But it's just, it's so hard because getting out of a situation can be hard. Saying no can be hard. Deciding that you don't want to do something anymore can be hard. Deciding that you're not going to do a habit, or you're not going to talk to yourself this way, or you're not going to believe in this, or just coming to a point where you realize that something is a problem for you is difficult. You know, that's one step of grief, just grieving the bad news. But then thinking about what the bad news did to you. What did the bad news do to your psyche when you had to receive that bad news and think about that bad news? Now that this bad news has become a part of your reality, what has that done to you? You know, like, that's what I'm talking about. We have to get granular. We have to look under the layer of the grief. It's not just enough to feel that we're letting something go. It's like, how do you feel that you're letting this go? How have you let go of other things in the past? How has this grief been different? This is a different kind of grief, y'all. This is a different type of grief, a different type of death that we're experiencing. And even if someone has literally passed away, it's even beyond them passing away. Like, if someone or something is passing away, it's definitely the ending of a big chapter in your life. And this person or thing was very significant to you. Like, this is a big moment, a big change. And it's going to be a moment of, you know, it's going to be a moment of you being brand new. It's going to be a moment of you being brand new in all spaces. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that's honestly the best that we can get right now. I think we need a new start. I think we need a new start. I think we need the ending of this cycle to come back to the beginning point. We need to kind of have that full rotation so we can fully step into this new beginning. That's why it's been so hard to step into this new beginning, because, I mean, it's been a new beginning, but has it really been a new beginning? Because there's been so much that we haven't fully said goodbye to. There's been so much that we haven't fully been done with, you know? We have this Knight of Wands, which I love. I can't remember if I pulled this card in our last spread. I can't remember, but we have the Knight of Wands. You know, I love this energy. This is about just feeling that fire again, you know, kind of getting reinvigorated, getting that spark back. And I think some of us have been really chasing our spark. Like, we're wanting to feel good again. We're wanting to feel connected again. We're wanting to feel like we're where we're supposed to be again. And I think we're definitely connecting with that energy sooner rather than later. Let's pull a couple of cards to just wrap us up, guys. All right. So we have the Six of Wands. We have the Six of Wands, and we have the Seven of Pentacles, not the Seven of Pentacles, excuse me, the Seven of Swords. Let's wrap up with this semi-drag, interesting wrap up for this message. Let's get into it with the Six of Wands. You know, this is about crossing the threshold, stepping into a new beginning, doing the training, doing the work, just what we've been talking about. You've done it for you. You've done the healing for you. You've done the research for you. You've done the work behind the scenes for you. And now you're stepping into this new season. You have this new blessing. You have this new gift. You have this new opportunity, this new chance. And as you're stepping into that, and as you're crossing that threshold, you know, you're reigning supreme. People see you in your glory. And then we have the Seven of Blades. So do not let your guard down. You know, like, there's a lot of things that we have to keep our hands in right now. But with this Seven of Blades, this Seven of Swords, people being nasty, people trying to take advantage, just kind of attracting the wrong type of people. That's why it's so important that we let this death do what it's supposed to do. Because if you step into another season of abundance, happiness, prosperity, and you still have thieves around you, thieves and tricksters around you, you're going to be right back to the point of justice, of trying to restore balance in your life. So that's why it's so important that we let this death do what it's supposed to do, that we really deal with what's coming up for us emotionally. We really deal with those things, because those bad relationships, letting those bad people around you, is why we can't acknowledge our part in a team. It's why we can't acknowledge what we're bringing to the table, because we have people around us that's telling us who knows what and making us feel God knows what. You know, it's so important to make sure that we're keeping the chaos away, and that we're being specific about who we have around us, and that we're getting strict with that. You know, like I said, we haven't been strict enough. So we need to get strict and be mindful of who we're letting around us, who we're having around us, especially as we step into this new season. And we don't want to step into this new season with the same issues, having the same doubt, having the same fear. Now, some things we won't be able to fix as the new season approaches, because the new season is approaching. We might not have everything checked off of our healing list before we step into that new season. But what we do want to do is make sure that we're in a space where we're feeling better. We want to make sure that we're in a space where things are making more sense to us. We want to make sure that we're just not about to get got the same way. I mean, and if you are going to get got, because I mean, we get got here and there, sometimes in the same way to kind of teach us something, be ready for the challenge. Like, be ready to do something different. Be aware. Don't be green. Don't be naive. You know, don't be in a space where you feel like, oh, dang, I wasn't ready for this. Or, oh, dang, I didn't know this was coming. Like, be in a space where you're like, you know what? I'm ready for this. You know, like, don't let it get you down. As you see yourself stepping into it, start to tell yourself like, okay, I know what to do. I know what to do. I know what to do. And have those conversations with yourself. Do this differently. Do this differently. And this is going to be happening in the next 2 weeks. Everything I just said. So buckle up, bookies. Buckle up, bookies. Get into it. I feel really, I don't know if I feel good about it. I feel good about it. I feel good about it because that's all you can feel. I would recommend praying a lot. Make sure you're talking to God as much as possible. And something I've also been doing is just psyching myself out, blasting gospel music. You know, like when I just can't get myself together, I'm like, I just need a little praise. You know, sometimes a little praise and worship is all we need to get ourselves out of a funk. You know what I'm saying? So get into it. Figure out whatever you need to do to lift your spirits. Also, I'm remiss that I mentioned this at the end of this video. I'm definitely going to be talking about this more in another video, but September is National Suicide Prevention Month. So I definitely encourage you guys to be extra kind to yourself and extra kind to others this month. And, you know, just take advantage of the resources. There's going to be a lot of people posting things online. A lot of mental health blogs are going to be posting things and being active online. So take advantage of the resources that you see this month. And, you know, just know that I love you guys and I am here with you. I hope you guys enjoyed this message. Let me know how you feel down below about this full moon total lunar eclipse and Pisces reading. If you want a private reading to basically see what this is going to be representing for you and what you should be doing about it, check down below in the description box. Those readings are available. I love you guys. I thank y'all for being here as always, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys. Bless.